These days, this topic is becoming more and more important. But at the same time, this topic is some complicated and some difficult viewpoints. Of course, I have been to Latin America and the Caribbean for many times. According to my own understanding, we have lots of common interests, common intentions to make this topic further clearly and for further basic better understandings mutually. Today, I will use 6 parts in my presentation to give some very brief introduction about my own understanding and opinions. The first part is about the initiative, for the world, for the global development proposed by Chairman Xi Jinping. The second framework, and the third part is some important solutions for global cooperation between Latin America and China. The fifth part is about the basis and the capabilities of China for promoting and implementing these initiatives and the multilateral solutions for global cooperation and so on. And the fifth part is some very brief understandings about the economic opportunities for China and for America, for the region of America, Latin America and the Caribbean. And the last part is my very primary considerations and conclusions could be used for reference. The first part is my very brief introduction about the initiative for global development. It is in the I think you have known that this initiative got proposed last year by President Xi Jinping. I think this initiative is one proposal. For the agenda for the United Nations agenda of 2030. Pandemic, for reactivating the economy, for developing for the development of with peace, and for implementing the real multilateralism and so on. This is the first component of the initiative. The second component is about 8 important areas for reactivating the economy. such as the eliminating the poverty, for improving the level of food security, and so on. The three components of the initiative is about three promises of China. For example, the first promise is reduction of uh, about the reduction of the emission of the carbon emission. By the year of 2030, China should be at the peak of the carbon emission, and by the year of 2060, China uh, should have been in the process of uh, carbon neutralization and so on. This is the first promise. The second promise is to support the development of green energy, especially the development of green energy in developing countries. China will not finance and support the cool energy projects outside of China. This is the second uh, premise about the green energy. The second premise is about the international assistance or the international aid. China promised to use 3 billion US dollars for supporting the economic and the social development in the developing countries. This is a basic the basic introduction, a brief introduction about the initiative for the global development. Fondos, the fund uh, for for the uh, global develop for the South uh, development and cooperation. And the fund, the World Fund for South cooperation and development, except for the 3 billion US dollars uh, into the for South cooperation and development. The second fund is the China United Nations Fund for Peace and Development. This is the first expansion. The second expansion is to uh, is to increase the level of international consensus about mobilizing global resources for the 8 important areas mentioned last year. The third knowledge and experiences about development, including for example, we are to establish, to set up the uh, one center of one center uh, for promoting the world development and to set up the youth forum for world development. This is the three expansions about the initiative in this year, except for the initiative. Uh, Except for the initiative, uh, uh, the China, we know that uh, we know that uh, the another uh, initiative is about the belt and the road. Uh, it is very easy to make some uh, wrong with my mobile phone. This off. Hello, hola.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Un momentito, por favor. Un programa sobre en mi celular. The initial it is a it's a long it is a long talk about the differences and the relations between the initiative for world development and for the initiative of the One Belt and One Road. But now here I can see that the the same the same area or uh, the same uh, destination is to promote the agenda of 2030, but the initiative for world development is paying more attention on the global partnership and the for uh, increasing increasing the international consensus about the peace and development. But the initiative of the One Belt and One Road is paying more attention on the economic and trade cooperation. But all of them are used for mobilizing global resources as more as possible for improving the road connectivity and the road development. The new the new changes of the world is can be the background for understanding these initiatives, the initiative for global development and the initiative of the One Belt and the One Road. Uh, New changes of the world, including lots of aspects. The first aspect is the digitalization. Up to today, we have at least we have three types of civilization. The first is the agricultural civilization based on the land. The second is the industrial civilization based on capital. And now we are facing the third civilization, the digital civilization based on or centering in the persons. At the same time, the world is on the we are facing great changes of the about the world. It is very easy to understand this new uh, global trends of changing. For example, the first level is the different uh, views about the world. For example, the Europe think the Europe thinks themselves as the center of human civilization. The second view is from United States, thinking themselves as the world leader, and the third view is from Latin America as the vision of central the periphery. The fourth view is from China at the beginning of this century. I call it the vision of common future. Of course, there are lots of different views about the world. I I, uh, I think these four are more important and more are influencing the world affairs. So we have based on with the development of the modernization, we have the modernization based on land, the modernization based on capital, and the modernization centering uh, on for the process. And under this, based on this different, according to this different views, we are facing two kinds world systems. The first kind of world system of is can be called as the capitalism system under the God, and the second is the world system, the multilateral system with common future. Of course, we different by using different views, we can have different understandings about the modernization, the civilization, and the world system. The second of about the new changes, very important concept from Seval is the new uh, traps of development. For, for example, the four traps of production, the new trap, or trap of society, the new trap of institution, and the new trap of environment, and so on.
165
And the
personas.
and the oh,
265. Qué bien.
okay. Hola. I
Hola, hola.
okay. Uh, okay. As for the uh,
Next.
okay, the new some new world trends. They include the climate change, the demographic change, and the global geopolitical conflicts. And there are three important forces in the new global new trends of world of changes of the change, such as the United States, European Union, and China, and so on. This concept, the new trends of development from Sebar. Uh, I think it is this new concept are very important for understanding the uh, those initiatives from China. And the trend about the as for the world changes, we have different visions from China. I call the vision uh, or the 2050 vision of China. I published this webbook in Brazil in 2020. In that article, you can find out this framework, the 2050 vision of China. This is one coordinating system, including five components. The first is the point of origin, the year. In here, the point of origin is the year of 2000 of this year, 2022. In this year, China is still one emerging economy uh, with a high medium income. The second component is the horizontal axis with two important directions: the modernization of China and the the uh, promotion of multilateralism. On the horizontal axis, uh, there are two important time points. The first time point is the year of 2035. By the year of 2035, China should have been one economy with high income. The second time point is the year of 2050. By that year, China should have been one advanced economy. This is the second component of the coordinated system. The third component is the vertical axis with two important directions to promote the common prosperity in China, and to promote the common future with of the human being. The fourth uh, component is the central the interior area, the pink area, which means the modernization of the economic system. And the fifth component is the better life curve, uh, or the curve of better life. We can see that on the curve of better life, there are lots of important points, such as the levels of family income, the governance by the law, the democracy, the democratic system, equity and justice, and so on. Also, the vision of China has three important natural characteristics: open, inclusive, and sharing. This is by using this vision of China, we can it is much easier to understand the Chinese understandings about the new changes of the world, the new development roles of China for the future, and the basic meanings of initiatives proposed by China for the world. And while we uh, while we use uh, these three visions of views to understand the new changes of the world, especially for China, and Latin America and the Caribbean. Then we are facing lots of different solutions for the multilateral cooperation. Here, I only mentioned five. The first solution is from Latin America and the Caribbean. It is well known around the world. The open regionalism based on the regional integration and multilateralism. The second solution is from United States. It is called as the closed American Americanism. It has been more than 1 century. The third solution is from European Union. Uh, it can be called as three pillars of solution of three pillars the solution of European Union: the political dialogue, coordination of policies, and the economy uh, partnership agreement among Chile, New Zealand, Singapore. China is applying for the the fifth solution is from China. I call this the including the multilateralism and uh, the consulting, constructing, and sharing uh, uh, together. We are just uh, talking about the laws of uh, basic understandings about the initiatives from China. Now, for example, the new changes of the world and five solutions for the world development, especially by the development of China and Latin America and the Caribbean, because we are facing the same challenges, and we are facing the same requirements for dealing with the new changes of the world and the new challenges from these new changes. Now I am to say something about the basis and the capabilities of China for dealing with these new changes and these new challenges. Firstly, here I only present some basis of China. This basis have got accumulated during the past several decades, as we have known that since the 1980s, China, both of us, China and almost all the Latin American countries, we have been conducting the similar reforms and opening ups. On the side of China, China have has accumulated experiences for dealing with the new changes of the world and for dealing with the new challenges. The first is the economic growth. As all of us have known that China has been the second economy of the world just after the United States. The second uh, base of China is uh, the elimination of the absolute poverty, especially in rural areas of China. In the last year, President Xi Jinping declared that China had realized the objective realized the objective of eliminating the absolute poverty in the rural area. Now we are trying to get the common prosperity. The common prosperity is the second target of the social and economic development where China is just on the starting point of uh, of common prosperity. This is the second base. The third base is the agricultural modernization and the food security in China. The modernization is as you have known that the Chinese reform got started in rural areas. So the we are paying in China, we have been paying more attention on the integration between the farmers and the land using right to the modernization of the agricultural production and then the construction of the new rural communities and so on. One important target of the modernization in rural area agriculture is to uh, is to maintain is to keep the food security in our own hands by using by developing the rural infrastructures and by using the new technologies and so on. Now we can see that as for the basic grains such as maize, wheat, rice, and so on, more than 95% of these grains uh, can be sufficient, have been sufficient by ourselves in China. The fourth base is the industrialization. All of you have known that China has been the uh, biggest manufacturing country in the world. I mean, the manufacturing sector of China has been the biggest, uh, totally equal, totally is almost the same about the United States, Japan, and Germany. These three countries, putting them together, it is still less than the manufacturing sector of China. With the development, with the industrialization, China has developed all the manufacturing sectors. This is uh, one important in the world by just I just like what I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation. Now we are facing the digital civilization. So China is has been developing the digital economy, the digital technologies, and so on. The sixth is through uh, rural ways and so on. Lots all of this has been used for developing for improving and developing the logistic system in China by using the integrated logistic system inside of China. China is building um, the integrated domestic market. Uh, Maintaining the economic growth and for expanding the domestic market. The seventh base uh, is uh, is the open to the world uh, and China has, by using the by opening uh, China has been the biggest trading partner of more 140 countries around the world. They, for example, even this in these years, because of the pandemic and the geopolitical conflicts and so on, the world trade has been in the situation or in the difficult situation. But the export and the import of China has been growing steadily and even very uh, fastly, especially in this year. Uh, this is one important issue or one important base of China is the digitalization. That's what I said in my article published in Brazil. I said during the past several thousand years of agricultural civilization, China and Latin America have China and Latin America have been contributing a lot to the development of human civilization. But during the several hundred years of industrial civilization, China and Latin American countries uh, less uh, got less development. But now we are facing the coming of the era of digital civilization era. So China and the Latin American countries uh, should have uh, uh, should have been should have been making uh, more hard work for keeping the development and the growth of the world of the digital economy. This is I think this is in this years and even in the especially in the future, this is the biggest or the most important. This is the biggest challenge and the most basis accumulated in last decades. Now we can analyze some important uh, capabilities of China for dealing with the new changes of the world and for dealing with the new challenges of the world. The first important capability equilibrium is from the from the theories of Sebal. Uh, this in this mechanism of macro equilibrium, we have three important factors. The first factor is the public deficit. The second is the net domestic savings, and the third is the international cooperation. The basic meaning is that while one country is facing the public deficit, then the net domestic saving can be used for balancing the public deficit. Secondly, while the net domestic saving could not be enough for balancing the public deficit, then the deficit should be balanced by international cooperation. This is the basic understanding. Of course, according to the concept of Sebal has been paying more attention on the public deficit and the external savings. Here, in China, we are paying more attention on the domestic savings. For example, during the past several decades, in the most of the years, China has been keeping the public deficit, but in China we have a loss of domestic savings. These domestic savings are the domestic investment. As for the international cooperation, we have three uh, basic mechanisms: trade, investment, and financial cooperation. By using these international cooperation mechanisms, China uh, has has kept sufficient foreign reserves. For example, since the year of 2011, the foreign reserves of China has been maintained over 3,000 million of US dollars. All of this, the sufficient domestic savings, the domestic foreign reserves are two important factors for China to balance, not only to balance the public deficit, but also to increase the domestic consumption and the investment in China. This can, while we are talking about this, we can use this macro equilibrium mechanism. So this can analyze the current situation countries in the world are facing the public deficit. This is a very big challenge, not only for developing countries, but also for the advanced economies. Due, how, however, lots of developing countries, uh, the uh, the problem of public deficit in most of developing countries is not so serious like the like in the advanced economies. All the heavy public deficit of the world, most of them have been in advanced economies. In other words, the advanced economies are having more serious public deficit problems than most of the developing countries. Even though China has the capability of dealing with the macro equilibrium, of course, but also there are lots of Latin American countries have the similar capability. We most we can make this comparisons or this analysis very easy by using the data from International Monetary Fund, from the World Bank, and so on. By this, we can understand why China can deal with these challenges and these new changes of the world and these new challenges. This is the first capability, one mechanism of macro equilibrium. The second capability is the public, the state-owned enterprises, or in other words, these enterprises can be called the public enterprises. These days, there are lots of discussions around the world. With these discussions are paying more attention on the debt, the volume of debt in China. One important issue about this debt is from the public enterprises. For example, by the year by last year, by the end of last year, we have had 97 public enterprises under the leadership of central government. We can say that about 70% of this enterprise of the asset, the ratio of asset and debt and asset was about 67%. The debt of these 97 public enterprises under the leadership of the central government was almost 50% of the total debt in China, which means these 97 public enterprises is owing or is using more than one half of the total debt in China. However, this debt has been used for developing the new cities, for building the speed railways, the grid, for building the grid, for building the expressway, the space station, the satellite, the carriers, the warship carriers and the air flight, jet, and so on. All these all these have been important asset, public asset of China. These assets are not only being used for maintaining, supporting the social and economic development, but also for protecting the security of national defense, the public security, and so on. So we can say that even though the total debt in China has been some high, but on the other side, China has accumulated accumulated a very large volume of public asset. This is the second type of capability. The second second capability is mobilizing and organizing forces, resources for promoting the social and economic development. Today, the world is complicated. It is not easy to understand this complicated situation by using one pair of relations, such as the relation between farmer and the land, the relation between labor and the capital, the relation between government and the market, the relation between country and the world. We have to use these four pairs of relationships to understand the complicated situation, the new changes of the world, and so on. Of course, we understand there are existing conflicts between these four pairs of relationships, but there are existing the integrations between them. China is one developing country and still at the primary stage of socialism. So we have to pay more attention on the integrations between these four pairs of relationships while we are understanding the conflicts between them. By using this, so China is mobilizing and organizing more and more resources, more and more forces for promoting the development socially and economically. And at the same time, uh, China is promoting more and more international cooperations because we have uh, in these four pairs of relationships, we have eight areas of possibility and cooperation and so on. For example, here one one case is the relationship between China and the United States. All of you have known that there are lots of conflicts between China and the United States. For example, the the digital economy these days, the chip one issue of chip four, or the chip law of United States concerning the digital economy. But China uh, and we are China and the United States are still keeping cooperations in, for example, in the in land because China is importing still importing lots of agricultural products from United States. And China and the United States are still keeping cooperations in capital, with lots of Wall Street for some investment bank in Wall Street are still keeping their operations in China, even though some Chinese state-owned companies are leaving the stock market of New York. And the market, as for the market, in the area of market, China has not closed the Chinese market to United States. At the same time, United States has not closed the American market to Chinese products and so on. As for in the world affairs, in the area of global affairs, even though China temporarily stopped the uh, the negotiation, the climate change negotiation with United States, but we still have other issues and topics about the world affairs and so on. This is the basic situation at the present, not only about the relationship between China and America, but also between China and the other Western European countries the same. Which means by this, China have is the capability of mobilizing and organizing. China, at least China has accumulated two groups of capabilities. The first group of capabilities is concerning the mobilization and organization, is about mobilization about the more areas, more possibilities of international cooperation concerning 4 pairs of relationships and 8 areas and so on. This is now while I after I making my very brief introduction about the basis and the capabilities of China, now I'm to give you a very brief my own opinion about the economic opportunities for Latin America and the Caribbean under the initiatives of China. The first is by using so high like before, because, for example, in the next 15 years, the economic growth rate of China should be around 4.5%.
Professor C.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're having some trouble with your internet connection. I think it's best. I'm sorry to disturb. I think it's best if we turn your camera off. Maybe it will work better with the audio because
Okay.
I will turn it
Okay.
off for you.
Okay.
So maybe we can try it this way. I think it should be better.
Okay. No problem. No problem. It's okay. Ahora,
Ah, sí,
okay.
sí.
Ah,
Sí, ahora está mejor.
seguimos.
Sí.
Okay. The second opportunity is in the agriculture area, modern agriculture. This is it's very common to because according to the Chinese uh, basis and communities, especially concerning the four pairs of relationships. China has the farmers land property system. We respect the integration between the farmer and the land. The second is to increase the agricultural income or to increase the income from agricultural production. In China, we are using lots of two. We have two basic methods for increasing the agricultural production. For example, the first is the development of rural infrastructure, such as the rural road, the rural grid, the rural communication, and so on. As the second method is the development of agricultural technologies. Here, I use four cases: the maize, wheat, and rice, the hybrid rice. The picture four here is the rise of a sea water. Of course, the rice cannot be irrigated by the ocean, the sea water. It means that this rice can be planted alongside along the beach or in the salt land in China. So the picture four means that after the hybrid rise of Yuan Longping, China is on the road of the second revolution of rice by planting the sea water rice. And the third opportunity is about the integration of labor and capital. This is one economic growth model well known around the world. During the past years, especially before the year of 2012, the economic growth of China uh, uh, was mainly based on the more input of labor and capital. In recent years, China has been paying more and more attention on the growth of total factor productivity, or in other words, the growth of the productivity of total factor. Generally speaking, we have two resources of total factor productivity. The first resource is the institutional reforms, such as the more reforms and the further opening up and so on. The second origin resource is the technical innovation, such as the digital technologies and so on. By using two important issues. The first issue is about the relationship between labor and the capital. In China, as one developing country, China still needs to pay more attention on the integration. Of course, we are understanding the conflicts between these two factors of production. The second issue is that the cooperation or or the integrated cooperation among different types of capital. For example, the public capital, the state-owned capital, the private capital, and the translational capital. At least these three kinds of capital can capitals can work together for promoting the development, not only the development of agriculture, but of course, the development of manufacturing sector, um, the development of digital economy, and so on. The, the fourth opportunity is about the opening up of China. China is now lots of measures and policies being implemented in China for promoting the opening up. Here I only use two or three cases. The first is the the unilateral opening up in China. Some examples are the examples are including the free trade, the free trade, the pilot zone of free trade, and the port of free trade. Today, now at present, China has 21 pilot zones of free trade, and one port of free trade. This is the first case. The second case is China is developing the free trade networks, including bilateral free trade and multilateral free trade, and so on. In Latin America and the Caribbean, China has signed a free trade agreement with the three countries, including Chile, Peru, and Costa Rica. The third case is the multilateral lism with a common future. For example, the initiative of the road, the Belt and the Road, the initiative for the world development, and the support, support and practice of real multilateralism and the multilateral agencies and so on. RCEP is an important issue of China for promoting the free trade and the regional integration. At the present, RCEP is the biggest free trade area around the world. Now, while the RCEP and CPTPP and some others can be important component of the Trans-Pacific partnership. The fifth TPP opportunity is the digital economy. So China is the important component of China is building my country of digitalization. We have two sides of the digital development. The first side is the infrastructure. For example, the digital economy, the digital technology, and the digital installation, and so on. The other side of the digital China is concerning the business environment of digital economy, such as the business the business environment for developing the digital government, the digital society, and so on. We have lots. One key issue about the technology of digitalization. Which part or who can get the benefit? Who can get the benefit from the digital development? On on the view on the side of China, we just like President Xi Jinping said, we should let we should let uh, the digital economy benefit everyone of the world. This is a basic philosophy and working other a basic point of a basic guiding line of China for developing the digital economy and for promoting the digitalization around the world. It is not for uh, not for getting the monopoly of around the world. This is totally the vision of China's digitalization is totally different with others. And the fifth opportunity is concerning the concept of new Trump Trump of development. Uh, Firstly, we can use the mechanism of macro equilibrium by using the uh, trade, investment, and the financial cooperation. Even though the economic ties between China and America, Latin America, and the Caribbean has been becoming more and more closer, but lots of partners in the region have been facing uh, uh, big challenges concerning the macro equilibrium. So while we change our while we are mechanism of macro equilibrium, we can have some different views about the trade, investment, and the financial cooperation between China and the region. For example, we can use more investment or more financial cooperation for balancing the trade uh, relations or for balancing or for improving the balance of the macro balance in some Latin American countries, including some Caribbean countries. This topic is it, so we can talk about this in future. And of course, the four trends of development, mostly concerning the uh, uh, eight areas mentioned in the initiative for global development, especially the production, the productivity, the society, the public deficit, the environmental protection, and so on. And the last uh, part or last factor about this opportunity is the diversification of uh, multilateral cooperations between Latin America and the rest of the world. Not only the not only the solutions from advanced economies, especially solutions from advanced, especially and also more importantly, include from uh, the emerging and the emerging economy and the developing countries, including China. For example, Trans-Pacific partnerships, uh, the common future of China and Latin America, and so on. This is Finally, I would like to share, I would like sharing with you some very brief, very primary considerations. Here, the word of conclusion is not suitable. The consideration is or better here. Uh, the first consideration is about is to mobilize uh, uh, in, regional as more as possible connectivity and the regional development in Latin America. Here, the initiatives of China from China, the initiative for global development and the initiative of the road uh, and the belt and the road. Uh, only these are the only one factor for mobilizing the resources. So we needed to. Uh, this is the first uh, consideration. The second is uh, we uh, we are to or we we are promoting or we are constructing or building we are building and promoting five consensus. The consensus of politics, the consensus, the social consensus, and the consensus about environmental protection, the consensus about international cooperation, and the consensus of the economic possibility. Consensus of politics. According to the initiatives from China, we needed to consultants. We needed to lots of consultations about the development policies or industrial policies and so on. Here, recently, the advanced economies have shown us that the industry more and more important in future for developing the digital economy, for developing the modern agriculture, for promoting the industrialization, and so on. From the perspective of China and the Latin American countries, we have understood that during the past several decades, the development, the economic and the social development, especially the development of industrialization, have been have been one collective and national action. In recent years, in future, the the digitalization and so on. All this need the collective national actions more and more. Some advanced need the and more. Some have shown us these historical experiences. The social consensus is uh, as for the social consensus, we are paying more attention on the integration between farmer land, labor capital, because without these four factors, it will be very difficult for promoting the modernization, agricultural modernization, the industrial modernization, and the digitalization, and so on. As for the consensus about the environmental protection, they are except for the laws and the regulations, we needed to make some agreement or make some consensus about the basic standards, basic methods about the uh, local at the local level about the international cooperation needed the international consensus. It is very easy to understand, even though uh, all of us are facing more and more complicated global situation and the geopolitical conflicts and so on. But still, we still need some kind of consensus about international cooperation, especially the geopolitical understandings and consensus. So the last consensus is about the economy or is about the economic possibility. I always talk about one issue about the economic possibilities of cooperation uh, between China and the region. And in the region, there have been lots of projects, programs, just like the stars in the sky. But how to make the project economically possibility? This is the last consensus. We need the other four consensus uh, more clear or clearer, more clearly than uh, before before with, before we get into the study analysis of the economic possibility and before we start the implementation of one project. So as for the five consensus, I think the first is we needed to uh, make some basic political consensus by uh, exchanging uh, our ideas, understandings, and our development policies, and so on. What China, according to the Chinese traditions and ideologies, China need not to the political dialogue, need not the coordination of policies. What we need is the to understand mutually the development policies. The second is the social consensus about the project, about the about one specific project or about a specific program, and even about the bilateral corporations and so on. And the last or the third is how is the integration between multilateralism and the open regionalism. Not only the cooperation is not only the affair of is not only the bilateral affairs, but also it is the regional and the multilateral affairs. This concept. While we are talking about more operation or more possibilities, especially the economic possibilities in future, uh, the Trans-Pacific partnerships would be a better concept and even could be a better vision for making or for promoting the economic and the trade cooperation. Just for example, as for Costa Rica, I read some I just we have known that uh, Costa Rica is applying for the membership of CPTPP and so on, and even some South American countries east to the mountain Andes. They are trying to set up or to build the connections, the economic and the trade connections with the Asia Pacific region. This is common, and this is a very important issue in near future, in this years and in near future. So the key issue about this is is how to use the bilateral cooperation, the regional cooperation, and the multilateral cooperation, the mechanisms. By using these mechanisms, not only the initiatives from China, but also the others, the other, the others similar, similar initiatives, even including the build back better world. The all these initiatives can work together for mobilizing more and the global resources and so on. Okay, this is my basic introduction. Thank you for everyone for your patience because of my uh, mm, my equipment has some